Welcome to the bold analysis. I have just finished watching William Ruto's speech straight from Germany, Berlin. Ruto is looking a man that is not very happy. But I want to share with you his message, the two messages that I have gathered, because Kenyans in Germany were putting him to task to explain and, of course, give a position on the developments that are happening back in the country. And I want to narrow down, I've captured that some two critical messages that William Ruto is sending to the country from Germany. One, he is saying that the Kenyan Security Forces, or rather NPS, is fully in charge of Kenyan security, especially in the wake of this mass action, because according to him, and of course he signed executive order that gave them financial autonomy, and also they have operational autonomy, that is the independence. So according to what William Ruto is saying is that whether there is excessive use of force or whatever is happening in handling protesters back in Kenya, there is no political infiltration into it. I am saying what your president has said. As to whether that is true or false, we yet to find out. I want you to get that soundbite just here before we get deep into the message from Berlin.
Some of you are concerned about what's going on in Nairobi, what's going on in Kisumu. Let me promise you that we are going to take care of that situation. Kenya is a country of the rule of law, all right? And as responsible citizens, and as president, I will ensure that everybody's property, it is my duty, everybody's property, everybody's business, everybody's hustle is protected, and the lives of the people of Kenya are protected. It is the duty of the police. My administration will make the resources necessary, the policy decisions necessary for the police to execute their mandate in accordance with the law and the Constitution. And when I took office, I undertook that we're going to make the criminal justice system work for all Kenyans. And I did the deliberate thing to delineate the police from the office of the president. The Constitution says the police will have not just operational independence, it must also have financial independence. For a very long time, the financial independence of the police was undermined because it was under the office of the president. I did sign the executive order that transferred the financial resources from the office of the president to that of the Inspector General of Police. Today, the Inspector General of Police is solely responsible for both the operations and the financial requirements of the police force, and they can make independent decisions on what they want to do to secure the country.
I am to be very honest, and I want to make my personal submission in this matter. This position that I have given the NPS money, financial autonomy, and so they are independent, to me, I am not buying it. The reason why I'm not buying it is because just giving money that money is not from someone's pocket. That money is taxpayers' money. So it's just a way that they can manage their own funds. But we have seen meetings that Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, held with security officers, with the IG and people from the NPS. So Rigathi Gachagua is a member of the executive. So even from those pictures coming out, it's very difficult to tell the public, and I think those who were around President Ruto must make him understand this. I don't think it's something that the public will gonna easily buy, that the executive do not have input on what is really happening. Even though I know there is a Security Council that also works with the president. But then the fact that you gave them money does not show that you can't interfere. I think that to us is a white lie. Secondly, there is a message, the second message that William Ruto has shared from Berlin is, it is unthinkable that government can be involved in destroying property. And here, I think there is some reverse psychology. Ruto is making it clearly, and of course, as the head of government, I'm not shocked that he's taking a position of defending, and of course he has to defend. That is the practice world over. And he's really saying that every property will be protected, and no impunity, and there is no discrimination. Even though in his speech there is something saying that it is unthinkable. Indirectly, or rather in simple terms, he's trying to say that those who think that state is behind the criminal activities that are going on, is not criminal, but the illegal activities that are going on during this mass action, should not think of government being involved in it. Probably you need to get that soundbite here.
Kenya is a democratic country, and our democratic credentials stand out in the African continent. We had the most transparent, the best election acclaimed by all the observers, whether EU, whether Africa Union, whether USAID, and all the actors that were present in that election. What is going on in Kenya is the usual challenges of democracy, where people want to challenge the rule of law. My position as president is that the property, the lives, the businesses of everybody, Kenyans and foreigners, will be protected by the government of Kenya. All those involved in criminal activity, whoever they are, irrespective of who they are, what their status is, will be brought to book. It is unthinkable for any government to participate in the destruction of property of citizens. I want to tell you, as I tell Kenyans and members of the global community, that the government of Kenya will make sure that the property and lives of all Kenyans, including our visitors, will be protected, and those involved in criminal activity, including the invasions, will be brought to book. I want to tell you that we have no exceptions on respect for the rule of law, and we also don't have exceptions on protection of property or lives. Everybody must respect the rule of law, and everybody is entitled to the protection of their property and of their assets.
And you can listen to the tone and what the president is saying, even though he's looking a bit concerned and just trying to play one for the gallery, and he's saying what the audience there want to hear. Remember, that's a place where everyone is paying attention to what he's going to say. I am not surprised that President William Ruto will defend his government amongst in the wake of these accusations, because as the head of government, he's the one, there's nothing shocking about it. However, I think there needs to be some bit of creativity. Today, a section of UDA politicians are actually saying that Uhuru Kenyatta was the mastermind behind the invasion, or rather invaded his own farm to look for sympathy. So I am even wondering, is President William Ruto seeking any, President Uhuru Kenyatta, former President Uhuru Kenyatta seeking any elective office? No. Is there even an election coming the next 2 weeks or so? No. Even if it is that sympathy, to what benefit does President Uhuru Kenyatta need sympathy? Now, is Uhuru Kenyatta under the threat of any arrest? No. So you wonder, what is this hula baloo about? How can he? And if president could maybe plan to invade his own farm, and you know, why do you think, if it is not organized from within, the truth is police never responded immediately? Why didn't we see the police then going to rescue? Because if they would have organized themselves, then maybe it will be treated as a robbery incident, then the police will come, react swiftly. So what exactly are we talking about here? The same narrative also came in the wake of the Matiang'i house raid. No, we were told that Matiang'i was sleeping and dreamt that there was a raid, and then he decided to raise the alarm. So this discussion of, there have been this strategy of that person has done it itself. The same way we also argued that Dennis Itumbi could have kidnapped himself. Yeah, personally, I do believe that that was it. So, in fact, you even wonder, what is this story about sympathy? In the wake of accusations, and you know, there were some leaders that came out. Ichungo has been trending for a better part of the day because Kenyans have released the video track where he was saying that, you know, hata sisi tutakuja hizo mashamba zenu. So Kenyans have directly linked him to it, and he's the one who is now saying that, look here, I'm not in it. My hands are clean, and this thing can even be organized by them. I'm telling you, it's a very technical angle. I want to try to analyze William Ruto's reaction to this matter from Berlin. I am seeing some very critical messages that someone needs to deduct, needs to see from William Ruto's speech. This is it. The president is taking a very tactical angle. It's a very tactical angle, and this is the angle he's taking. Remember, William Ruto is not a juvenile politician. And when this country, we once sank to our lowest, stupidly, I don't, it's one thing that it should not be sugar-coated, cannot be glorified. William Ruto faced charges in ICC and knows very well on what exactly happens in these situations. You know, some of these leaders that are just making some of these blunders are oblivious of that. So what Ruto is actually saying here is, there is no way the executive is interested or rather is involved in police operation. So when the accountability push gains momentum, I can tell you that he can throw people under the bus. Whether there was a phone call that do this or do that, or whether there was a meeting that do this and do that, all that is going to be water under the bus. So that's what he's saying. So if there is someone, and that is what we need to agree, if there are people making blunders in the spirit of collective responsibility, then the president is talking from Berlin. That you will carry your own cross. Clearly. That's what the president is saying. Number two, Uhuru invasion faced backlash. There's a total backlash across the political divide, even from the political basis. So this is why, and of course, he has to try to relieve government of these blames because of this reason. Even those who support him, they might politically be feeling short excitement that this is happening against the former president. But politically, they also know this is not the route. We are all in agreement, whether in Kenya Kwanza or Azimio la Umoja, that this country, despite of your political affiliation, you can see all the members of the clergy, the Muslim community, and the civil society, and even the media, and everyone is condemning the destruction of property. Daylight, ikionekana, there's no way. Everyone is condemning it. So he has realized, and remember, those whose names have been linked are very powerful people in the government. So that's why, and in fact, the big names that have been, that people have been talking about is what makes people look at the state is involved. So what Ruto is doing here is, he has realized that at the end of the day, this thing, if I don't come in and defend our government, then it is my government that is going to suffer. The smear campaign. It's a smear campaign against us. And of this one, I am not sure, and of course I saw Raila saying that maybe he's aware, but I don't think, I still insist that I don't think Ruto will actually support that. Something happened. The media coverage on that incident exploded, and it was, you know what was a mere political gimmick. I want to say it was a political gimmick. Try to just play some very, some very token politics here and there, and to create some small excitements and some small panic. But that story by Q, it was captured by the international media fully. I listened to, I think it was in the newspaper, I think even in the New York Times, I saw that story. I also saw BBC had a very full coverage of the story. Remember, this was a former president. So even if you may hate him within these borders, but he still has a clout in the international stage. If everyone hears of a former president amefanyia kitu kama hiyo, it's not lightweight. So what was a mere political gimmick? People did not see the kind of attention that it will get from the world. Now, from that extent, because of that media attention, I think even the president understands that even at the global stage, even the diaspora audience, were not very comfortable. Remember, people want to come and invest home. Even when Ruto is abroad, he wants the people, the Kenyans that are staying abroad, to come and invest in the country. Leave alone the foreign investors. Kenyans that are away, that are in diaspora, also wants to come and invest here. So with that kind of environment, even Ruto knows very well that the media coverage exploded this thing, and then you need to just give it, you need to cool down. Investors might have shown dissatisfaction with the developments. I know that while you are on such a high profile foreign tour, you also meet investors and those who are interested in different sectors that want to invest. But with this, they're also showing reservations, and maybe they're also putting him to task to explain that what exactly is going on. I want to believe that when President comes back, we're going to talk the talk of ceasefire. As to whether the hardliners, Azimio hardliners or Kenya Kwanza hardliners like it or not, I foresee that it will not take us long before the discussion about ceasefire is on the table. Someone is saying, I am coming to table with my demands, and know that I'm coming to that table with nothing, and so I can even sell that table. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's meet in the next video.